Well, good evening here in North Bay, Canada. A look at Lake Nipissing, which means Lake of Little Water, which the city of North Bay sits on. As spring is just around the corner here for everyone in North Bay, is everyone heading out on the town here this evening. Population about 53,000 people, and goes with the slogan, it's just north enough to be perfect. North Bay, Ontario, playing host to the Ford World Women's Curling Championship 2018. Has not a lot of snow out there, but it's starting to warm up, starting to get a little bit like spring. You know, that is the season when the World Championship begins, as the teams get ready for session 2. Japan just being honored as they do in the afternoon and evening sessions here at the World Championship. Well, look inside the North Bay Memorial Garden, converted into 4 sheets of curling for the Ford World Women's Curling Championship. Let's meet these teams now. Team Germany, Pia-Lisa Scholl at lead for Team Germany. Their second, Annalena Jentsch. Third, Mira Habs. Skip, Daniela Jentsch. And they will take on Japan. Their lead, Arisa Kotani. Second, Mayo Ishigaki. The third, Kaho Onodera. And the skip of the Japanese team at the Worlds, Tori Kawana. I am Luke Coley, joined with Sandra Rovag as we look at the standings here coming into session 2. Canada, China, Korea, and Russia all with wins, while Denmark, Italy, Japan, Sweden, USA with byes, and then rounding out the field, Czech Republic, Germany, Scotland, and Switzerland at 0-1. Of course, it is a new 13-team field the first time, and let's look at the matches, some teams in their first games going on. On Sheet A, it is Sweden in their first game taking on Denmark. While on Sheet B, USA taking on Italy. Both those teams in their first game. Well, on Sheet D, our feature games on Sheet C, Germany and Japan. Sheet D, Switzerland takes on Canada. We'll bring in Sandra Rolvag now, and it should be a fun night here. Of course, Canada in action in that, so expect another good crowd here cheering on all the shots.
Yeah, certainly quite lively in the arena this evening. Quite a lot of people in this afternoon as well. Seem like most have returned, and it's just a beautiful atmosphere. Lots of fun, lots of music, lots of dancing going on. So it's really enjoyable so far.
Well, and we have a young Japanese team against a German team that has had some world experience, but they're haven't had the success that they would have liked. Their best finish just 9th for Daniela Jentsch, and then you take a Japanese team that is trying to ride the momentum of Satsuki Fujisawa and her Japanese team winning bronze at the Olympics. Now you have a very young Japanese team in their first World Championship.
Yeah, don't know too much about this Japanese side, so it'll be very interesting to see them play. But yeah, like you said, the German team, we've seen them at quite a few championships over the years, just haven't quite been able to maximize their potential. Daniela Jentsch even played the World Championship at age 18 back in 2000, already playing third. And, you know, we were hoping to see maybe more from them at some point.
Yeah, and they did play earlier today. This is Japan's first game, while Germany lost 8-3 to Korea. So they play one of the 3 teams from the Pacific Asian region. It'll be Germany with the hammer and having the red stones. Japan will have the yellow stones, and will get us going here in this one. As we are on Sheet C, we'll keep you up to date with all the games going on in session 2. And they got the go-ahead. Time to start the game for Arisa Kotani. 17-year-old lead. Curling for 10 years, so starting at the age of 7.
Well, they'll throw the center guard here on the first end, so definitely not scared to get things going in the first end. Nice to see from a young team.
Well, if you're tuned into our game earlier today, we saw 4 blank ends to start the game, both teams sliding into the rings. We see Pia-Lisa Scholl, 26-year-old. Playing in her 4th World Championship. Trying to draw around that centerline stone.
Yeah, come a little deep there. Germany would have had the first practice throwing the redstones this evening, so maybe the ice just getting a little bit quicker with Japan out there in the second practice. Both teams having that 9 minutes before game start. And also have the draw shot challenge to determine the last one advantage. Germany came out on top. Not great draws overall from any of the teams, but good enough for Germany to have the hammer in the first end. Ice has been running pretty quick. It's been looking pretty good. Nice swing.
Yeah, definitely seeing some curl. I think it'll normally takes in one of these events a couple of games, maybe even a day and a half to really break in and be consistent throughout. They're going to keep working on it, how it's going to react with more people in the building.
Yeah, I was talking to Chief Ice Technician Jamie Barassa. He's just still trying to learn the building. Quite a few crowds coming in, and you know, it's a learning experience for the teams coming out and playing their first games. It's very much the same for the ice techs as well, to just learn the building and tweak the ice. But it's been looking really good already from the first draw, so teams should be pretty happy with it.
Well, just a little bit heavy bouncing off that. Japan still lying 1. Mayo Ishigaki. Well, a little change of plan. They end up calling to make the double and will stick around. Well, an alert call in order to make that double and have enough to stick around in the rings. Oh, Annalena Jensch, sister of Skip Daniela.
Just looking to open things up here. Take the guard off, is hoping to maybe catch that yellow on the wing. Doesn't quite do that, so Japan with a good chance to maybe get the force. They got a good shot stone too, so if you can keep guarding this, Jensch might have to outdraw it. Kind of tough to do in the first end.
Look at the rules of play. 6 ends minimum, 38 minutes of thinking time with 1 60-second timeout where coach can come down and talk strategy. See, a lot of teams will use that late in the game, a lot in the 10th end. Some teams will use it differently, call them quite early.
Well, sometimes you get a very big situation early on and figure it might be the game already in the first or second end, so that happens sometimes. This one just slipping into the ring, so that will allow Germany to make a hit, perhaps a double. Not really setting up for a deuce here for Germany, just if they can make a couple of doubles here, maybe blank the end, retain last one advantage, try again on the second.
Well, won't get that, but as well also rolls the shooter out. And still Japan lying 2. Well, Kaho Onodera, 26-year-old, was listed as the alternate, but we could see the lineup change a little bit for this Japanese team. Fairly young, and Onodera is in here in this game, basically to give a little bit of experience to this Japanese team in their first game in this type of environment.
Yeah, hoping to bring in some experience in the lineup, maybe calm some of the nerves of the younger players. I believe that was a team coach decision.
Amira Abs, the third for it. Trying to make this double. They missed it on the last. This time they'll make the double and roll the shooter off to the side. There, just need to make that one. And problem is where they are, they're separated. It's going to be tough for them to have a double to get out of the end.
Yeah, if Japan can keep making the simple shots well here, we'll get the force in.
Shot, and now Germany off the hook. If they can make the hit, set up for that blank.
Yeah, unfortunate by Onodera. There's a really good chance to get that force.
So nose hit, just that one stone in the rings, one out, just off to the side in front of the rings.
Ja, lieber schnell. Ja, ja, da war ich echt noch ziemlich stumpf drauf. Der kam normal an, meinte es. Nee, war schon ein bisschen schneller. ちょっと端だから9半で。9半。うん。徐々に行きたいんだけど、ちょっと端だからあれだからね。滑ってる。なんかテープ滑ってそうな。いや、テープは割と普通な。普通にちょっと重いかなと思ったけど。オッケー。
So the 22-year-old skip, Tori Kawana. Nose hit, side of the 12-foot.
I'll tell you what, she had a pretty quick pre-shot routine there. Just sat right in the hack. Came out firing, didn't really think about it. You'll see a lot of players, I think especially skips, have a bit of a longer pre-shot routine, sitting in the hack, adjusting a little bit. Reminded me a bit of maybe a Wayne Middaugh.
Just get down and throw.
Yep.
Yeah, some don't like to waste any time. Yeah, you said Wayne Middaugh. I think that entire team didn't waste any time. Ray McCarroll is probably one of the quickest players, possibly too. Of course, the Canadian World Championship squad. We see Daniela Jentsch playing in her 5th World Championship, 4th with this team, 4th consecutive. Will roll out, so not a lot of room to draw behind for that. Do you take a run behind that stone out in front?
Not sure if it's worth it. Let's have a look. Well, yeah, maybe. Maybe just hang on the end of the rings there. I'll be at least partially covered. But what I tend to see too many times from teams is they're just taking way too much ice and they never get over there. So what I quite like to see her is just take minimum ice and really try and go for it. You might as well. That seems like it's quite an interesting release as well there. Kind of
got on the very back end of the handle a bit.
It started like a 10 o'clock position there, pulled over to 2 and then back. And as you'll see, it won't be very close to getting in behind cover. Not sure if they were actually going for it though, or just throwing to the wing in general.
Here's a look at that release, Sander.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a thing she does normally, or if she just changed her mind halfway down.
Was one where the broom was in the middle of the ice. She's like deciding which turn she's going to throw in the first.
Well, I've seen that before. The Norwegian back end of Thomas Olsrud. Torger used to do that back in the day. But it was start more like at 12 o'clock. Then, yeah. But we'll see if she does that for the remainder of the game.
So last stone here of this first end, Daniela Jentsch looking to blank. And we'll hit roll out. So we will have a blank first end. No score yet. Germany, Japan, it's our feature game. Session 2 of the Ford World Women's Curling Championship.
Gut, okay. Jetzt schauen wir einfach noch mal so ein bisschen, dass wir Sicherheit finden, auch mit den Längen und allem. Gut.
Irgendwann hatte ich jetzt hier gerade 70, also
ja,
ich hatte 80.
Ja. Okay.
Ja, gut, einfach genau.
Auf geht's. Ja.
Gut.
Well, back into end number 2. Ford World Women's Curling Championship, North Bay Memorial Garden. Luke Oley here, joined with Sander Rovag, and started off with a centerline guard, but ended up being a blank in the end. Here between Germany and Japan.
Well, center guard goes back up for Japan, so still wanting to get some stones in play, force the score. As you always do, try and force a score of 1 for your opponent, try and score 2 back.
Well, looking at trying to get a force is Switzerland against Canada. Jennifer Jones is lying second against the 2-time world champion. And Binja Felcher, who's at 0-1.
For a bit of a double tap here, I believe.
And they'll move it just far enough to get their 1. So Canada on the board first. Jump over Sweden and Denmark over on sheet A. And this is the Olympic champ taking on Denmark, Anna Hasselborg. Looks like it is second shot for Denmark right now. And this trying to get across to try and make the hit. Maybe just touch the other yellow to score 2. But has to make sure they stick around. They won't. They'll roll away. And it's going to be, looks like a steal of 1 for Denmark in the first end. So 1-0 Denmark leading Sweden over on sheet A. So we still have the guard out in front belonging to Japan. Two stones in the rings here. Last to lead stones. Big sweep to get that one by as they'll hit and roll off to the side and just hang around. Look there, JD Lind is a coach with the Japanese team that went on to a bronze medal at the Olympic Winter Games.
Like what a young coach. Start coaching even at a junior age.
Coach Charlie Thomas to a World Junior Championship after the year after playing with him.
Yep, 2007, I believe.
7 and 8. 7 he won, 8 I think he was coach.
Yes.
Trying to go. Were they trying to freeze that initially and then change halfway down?
Seemed to be, you know, the sweepers will call the weight back to the skipper, and you know, if the skip knows it's a little heavy and they won't make the freeze, they'll try and find another option.
And there's JD's counterpart, Uli Kapp. Of course, Uli, well known, playing with his brother Andy as well. 2007 world silver medalist.
Lost to 4 in the first end against Glenn Howard.
Glenn Howard was in Edmonton. It was 10 years before the Worlds last year that we're also in the same building. So it is Germany lying 1, side of the forefoot. Germany does have the hammer here playing in the second.
I think Japan will be quite happy to be playing around the center guard here. Really look to close down the scoring area for Germany. They're lying 1, but it'll be hard to get a second stone in there. They can ever just nestle up against this red stone here, but again, maybe just slipping a bit too far.
Noticed earlier teams with draw weight deep on a lot, not really using the sweepers in our feature game I was calling, and everything deep in the house, and really tough to generate any offense when you're going deep in the rings.
Yeah, I certainly saw that in the game that I was watching. Just a lot of draws going there on their own. Yeah, not really involving the sweepers as much, so that's certainly something maybe a lot of the teams can really work with. See this again here. Not a big sweep. Still waiting for it to start to bend. It's not a bad draw though in the end, but leaves a bit of a pocket for Japan.
I saw the same pocket that you saw, but it looks like we're going to try and run that yellow in.
Yeah, very tempting to just follow the draw here and try and get to the inside of the red. You'd have more options with that as well, even leaving it short to be promoted. But maybe taking a lesson or two from Yosuke Morizumi's team.
Yeah.
Looking pretty close,
Well,
though.
look at that. We saw a similar mindset. It's not the conventional play always that is called by some of these teams that haven't been curling as long as you look at some that are really, you got to play the draw in that point. Well, no, it's not a bad shot. It just opens up a lot of options. It's not what you would really think of. The good example is that Korean team, Kim Young-jung. There's a lot of times, well, don't play that. That doesn't make, it's not the conventional play, and then they go make the angle double, and it's all great, especially when you go make the shot.
Yeah, sometimes just risk reward, though. Certain teams play a little more aggressively than others. Sometimes if you just have a really good feel for the shot, you make it. But yeah, it does really open up the forfeit here. Certainly wanted to keep this in front of the tee line. Just again slipping to the back of that forfeit will allow Japan to come after. Very hard to remove that redstone now with sitting in the pocket of those yellows. So I think this time for sure the draw. Came up a little heavy on the first end on Odera. Came back 12. Sweepers aren't really touching this one either, so.
Well, needs to curl and was heavy, so.
Still ends up in shot position.
But leaves that Ford logo wide open right on the button.
So Japan won't be too displeased with how this end is building up, even if this is made now by Abbas. If they can ever come in top, very hard for Germany to get in there to score 2. So Japan, if they can force Germany to score 1, they'll be very happy. Certainly using the sweepers on this one.
Yeah, it's not shot stone, but it is a pretty good shot.
There's 2 ways in for Germany now. They can still play that in-turn draw probably, but has left that redstone all open through the port on the out-turn as well. So I don't think Japan can really guard here.
So they decide play off that side one. Thought was, what if you played the same draw that you just played on for Japan to try and follow your own down, get in behind it, but there's a lot of risk involved there, and it opens up some options for Germany.
Yeah, well, even just corner freeze that redstone thrown by Germany might take away both turns for Germany a little bit.
Does not waste any time in the hack. That's Tori Koane trying to come off her side one.
Doesn't change too much.
No, and Sandra, you're definitely right. There's not a lot of sitting and waiting in the hack.
Let's
get the rock and go.
Deswegen, ich glaube, wir können den schon
Ja,
probieren.
will ich auch machen.
Viertel! Ja!
Viertel.
Was kommt dann?
Wobei, playing that off, in off, and nosing it
Ja.
gives us a big opening now to the German side.
Bloß ist so 10, oder?
Make this, you're in a good position.
Ja, bei dir klappt
Yeah, just trying to come through the port here with some soft weight. Tap that redstone top 4 onto the yellow.
Weil das noch die bisschen
See if they
stumpfer
can
ist,
squeeze it out far enough.
weil das ja noch ein bisschen die
At least allow 2, maybe 3. Depends on the weight she's throwing her.
Kante gelb.
Ja, mit
Also ich
20.
glaube, solange wir durchkommen,
Ja, das
passt
stimmt.
das alles.
Okay, gut. Hast recht. So, dass er kommt. Genau. Gemacht.
What kind of weight do you think?
Oh, looking at a hack weight maybe. It does ring quite straight when you up the weight on the ice here. Between a hack and a bumper weight somewhere.
Ines, los! Wow.
Calling this a little heavy, the sweepers.
Wow. Achtung! Setz die sauber! Hier! Ja!
Definitely a
Setz dich!
more of a bumper kind of weight here.
Well, trying to get it to curl. Slash it back will lie 1-2.
Sehr gut. Schön. 20 kann plus anfangen. Das
Stark.
fand ich auch krass.
Die liegen super.
That's pretty good. I thought she might have brought the weight down there to try and keep the shooter on the forefoot. That certainly asks the question of Japan.
Okay.
Well, Tori Koana and this team haven't played together that long. You see, very quick to make decisions. There's not a lot of discussion. It's put the broom down basically and go.
Not taking much ice here. I wonder if they're thinking to make the slash double on the Reds. Which I'm not sure if they can really see enough of the shots down here to make it. There's a good chance they'll jam in on the back yellow, rather. First needing to get past that guard, though.
By the front, make the hit. We'll touch it over, and we'll sit 1. And it looks like just 1.
Well, you know, that's a pretty good result.
You can't do much with that yellow.
No, even if that it is in the open, but with those 2 yellows in behind, very tough to remove it.
Also rot liegt besser, oder?
Ich denke.
Great job by the sweepers on this one. Went almost end to end. Kotani for Ishigaki, Onodera.
Genau.
You know, throw that controlled weight to get some finish past the guard to make it, but just didn't have enough of momentum to move that second red far enough, but leaves the shooter in a really nice spot. I'm not sure if they can
Aber den halt
really
sicher
move it
haben.
for 2.
Gell, Emmy?
Aber dann brauchen wir so, weil es kommt relativ spät
Es kommt spät,
und
wie
ich
schnell
komme ein
spielst
bisschen schneller jetzt.
Ja,
Okay, gut.
okay.
Was braucht man da aus? Was waren jetzt immer T-Line?
Emmys war der letzte war 90.
Okay.
Nee, aber das war
Aber
mit
jetzt ein
Vision.
bisschen weiter aus.
I think they'll give it a go here, though.
Also ich würde
Play it quiet, like almost a straight draw, and try and just tap it a little bit.
Yeah, just kind of chisel off it and just make sure you score 1 here.
75 sowas.
Try and move it as far as you can, and hopefully it'll be enough for 2. This is where you don't want to be caught in between shots, though.
Auf dem Gelb.
Throw a little heavy and
Ja, dann 70.
give up a steal.
Well, Daniela Jensch blank the first. Hammer here in the second.
Ines, gut. 6. Ja.
Needs 4 foot for 1, needs to move this one in order to get their second point.
Ja, 5. Ja.
Alles, du musst in 4 Fuß.
Ja. Alles. Ja.
Einfach in 4 Fuß zwischen.
Ja. Nur die. Hierher. Hierher. Voll in 4 Fuß. Voll in 4 Fuß.
Well, here just looks like the straight draw.
Voll in 4 Fuß. Ja.
But won't make it there. It'll come up short.
We'll have a second look to see if it might be 2. Looks like 1.
Well, they take a look, but it is just 1, so a steal of 1 for Japan. They take the early lead in this one. Germany looks to get their first win at the World Championship. Well, another good crowd here on St. Patrick's Day in North Bay, Ontario, Canada. Watching live coverage of the Ford World Women's Curling Championship 2018. As Japan gets a steal of 1 and leads Germany 1-0 as we play the third. Well, we got the usual type of end that we thought we'd see from a Japanese team. They're normally very aggressive squads, not afraid to keep stones in play. But it was a draw that ended up coming up short for Jench. They'll try to set up their end again with the hammer as they have for the 3rd straight end.
And we'll see Japan throw the center guard again here, even if they're up by 1. I'm sure they are just really looking to get that lasting advantage in their hands. And Japan, of course, sporting green on St. Patrick's Day.
It's like they planned it. Not really a color you always associate with Japan, but they're known to have some bright colors in their uniforms. You don't see a lot of green teams, green uniforms among any of the countries here.
It would have to be Ireland, but they're unfortunately not here.
So, centerline guard, come around to the top of the forefoot. Last time I saw a green uniform at Worlds was 2011, and Jeff Stoughton and his team wore green in Saskatchewan in Canada, the color of their, on their provincial flag. So again, we'll see play around the center. Didn't know a whole lot about this Japanese team coming in. One thing we've seen already, they play very quickly. Well, let's jump over and keep up to date with all the other games. Canada leading 1-0 over Switzerland in the second. Vinja Felcher with the hammer in this one and needs to draw full 8-foot in order to get her single point and tie this game up.
Yeah, should be a pretty routine for a skipper of her caliber. Super's looking pretty happy with it as well. Just keeping it clean.
It's always nice when they can just guide this one in. Oh. Uses most of the rings that they needed, but will get in, get their 1, so all tied after 2. 1-1 Canada-Switzerland. jump over. Sweden and Denmark finishing their second end. And it's like Sweden lying one back button. And the Olympic champ has an opportunity to get a second point, needs top of the button.
Well, we've certainly seen her make shots like this many, many times in the past this season. And in the Olympic Games, down to Sophia Malbags and Agnes Knockenhauer on the sweep to get it there. With Sarah McManus at the head to guide the line, looking pretty good here, coming in onto that forward logo.
And just like that, there's the deuce. Sweden bounces right back after giving up a steal in the first. They lead 2-1 after 2. Meanwhile, our feature game, Japan and Germany, it was that Yellowstone for Japan that was just frozen onto shot stone, top of the button.
Pretty fearless call. Not hitting the open red stone, you're up by 1 in the game. But, you know, it's a really good result.
With the rise of some of the countries that you're not always seeing at the top of the ranks in the curling world, there's some unconventional calls, we'll call it that, with it. People that have been around, I've been around the game for a bit, you sort of, okay, well, you freeze that, you hit this one. Not always the case, and we saw it last end, the raised double. Didn't really look like the call, but it ended up working all right.
You know, for a young team, I think maybe playing overly aggressive is perhaps better in terms of learning the game than playing super defensive from a young age. You're not going to learn all that much, and then so you play really aggressive for some years, but then you can try and pull it back a little bit and play a little more controlled when you get older. But then you still have the skill set to set up ends and score, especially when you're trailing in games. You know what to do. Certainly seen some young teams that play very defensively all throughout their career and then just never get anywhere, but just because they can't really create that offense when needed.
That's a great point for young curling fans and young curlers themselves, and knowing what to do and learning angles. And that's one thing that is, you can't recreate some things. You just got to experience it. As we look, Germany trying to hit and roll underneath. Maybe tucks the inside of that one.
You see curling moving towards being a more aggressive game every year. You know, we had the free guard zone come in, and now that's going to be extended to a 5-rot rule next season. So we're always trying to find ways to get more stones in play. So certainly the way the game is going, so to be able to play on an offense game is a good tool to have in your toolbox.
And we're seeing a lot of that at the Olympics. There was not nearly as many blank ends as you have seen in past years. Teams went right after it. Were aggressive, trying to generate offense, and it led to some outstanding curling. In just the second session, we're seeing lots of great shots being made. Well, that one doesn't work out very well for Japan, though. They end up going across, losing their shooter, jamming on the other one. Germany now all of a sudden a chance to use the guard and lie 2.
Kannst du wie vorhin spielen?
Ja. Sieht kurz aus. Nee, 8.
Nein, ist gut. Jetzt geht anwischen. Wenn's geht, anwischen.
6.
Oh.
Jetzt passt er, jetzt passt er. 6. 6.
Jetzt passt er.
6. 6, 7. 7.
You can hear the number system from Team Germany, calling out 6-7, 6-7. That's the system most teams will use in the world.
And a 6 being
6 just top of the forefoot, 7 being the T line. So just splitting the playing area into 10 different zones, 1, 2, and 3 being guards, and then 4 through 10 in the house. And I believe that was implemented by the fair before. Marcel Rock and
Scott Pfeiffer.
Indeed, out of Alberta. They certainly ruled men's curling for a number of years.
3 times world champions and 4-time Canadian champions from 2001 to 2005. So after that come around, now forcing the run back. Hit it right, you can get both of them. Onodera, get one, and we'll stick it there. Very nice.
Yeah, a double would be good, but sticking shot stone right in behind cover too is great. You can hear the skip just saying clean, clean at the end there. It seemed like they were very much in control of the shot. That is nice.
Yeah, not overthrown. You see some teams feel the run back needs to be thrown a million miles an hour. They're just a nice control weight.
Starting to feel like this Japanese team might prove difficult to play. Just like you said, a lot unconventional. So you're maybe not expecting all the calls being made, and then they'll make shots you're not expecting them to make, and you'll find yourself in some trouble. Of course, in curling, very much about where you're leaving your opponent.
Yeah. And there's the run back made, and the miss touches the guard. Sometimes against an older team or a more experienced team, you can actually get frustrated because what are you calling that for? You're not supposed to call that and make that. So quite a swing on two shots, the run back made and the draw missed. We'll jump over and get our first look at USA Italy. Two blank ends. Looks like it is USA lying one on top of the button. Are they third shot? So might be an opportunity for three.
I think so. I think that back red's out of the rings. If not, it's four. But
Jamie Sinclair, the U.S. representative this year, make the hit, and then there's no doubt it is three. So they capitalize with the hammer after two blank ends. They lead Italy 3-0. USA trying to ride the momentum that USA Curling has gained from their Olympic men's team winning gold and the popularity and publicity of the game is just huge in that country right now.
Weil dann wäre auch offen zumindest, weißt du, das nächste.
Genau. Ja, aber das Aufmachen bringt nichts.
Ja, nee.
Der ist gut.
Ich glaube, da kippt ja das war so wie vorhin beim Blanken eigentlich, oder?
Okay.
Vom Eis.
So.
Der kam ja auch ein bisschen zum
Kann ich dir von hinten geben und du schaust dann? Ja.
Machst du.
left a bit of a stagger on the yellow guards here in Japan. Won't be able to run any of those stones in. So looking to run the... I thought they were looking to run the red one in, but just looking at the room positioning now, maybe just looking to open it up. I guess we'll find out in due time.
Ja, genau, den machen wir.
Certainly not taking a lot of ice if it indeed is the angle run back on the red guard.
We have seen it with weight run fairly straight.
Seems to be the run.
Got to catch this one thin to run that one back.
This is over curling and poof, very close to clipping their own.
Yeah.
Just seemed to be not enough ice for that shot. It was almost negative ice.
Yeah, thinking their sweepers can back it up.
Weil Emmys, ich hatte bei Emmys Draw vorhin zweimal die exakt gleiche Split-Time. Der ist total übercurlt, auch der zweite. Deswegen. Ich glaube, wir brauchen ihn.
Well, that doesn't really change much. There's a chance for Kuwanak to come around again. Maybe sit two. And we'll have a look at her pre-shot routine here.
Yeah.
If,
don't blink.
She'll take some time to clean the rock and have a chat with the sweepers to figure out the weight, but as soon as that broom's up, it tends to come out pretty quick. Well, this time was
yeah, this time
we talk composed.
So last of the third end, Tori Kawana.
I think they were trying to come around here, just coming a lot wider with this throw. Maybe the ice just running a bit slower, coming outside the keener path. Pull up short.
But it's a miss that can actually still be used. Takes away, you could play that red tap if you're Germany, but now going out into a wider path, see what how their rock reacts.
Bis zum Schluss dann voll auf Curl, wenn wir mal vorbei sind.
Erst vorbei und dann auf Curl. Ja, weil ich glaube, hier läuft es auch nicht gut.
Yes, hopefully the German front end would have timed that draw from Japan to try and gather some information about this path they're now to play and try and communicate that back to Jens, the skip. But it might be a bit of a guess out here.
Pretty much a similar spot where that broom is now for German skip out of Fusen.
We'll get the time clock up here, so we'll have a look. We were looking at 14 and change maybe in this afternoon draw. Could be a bit slower. Coming pretty wide here. So 13-2. I think that should be pretty close.
Should be. The question is whether it curls.
Nope.
Definitely a slower path, because that would have been probably through the house earlier today. Ends up being another steal as Japan extends their lead now 2-0. We are through two ends here at North Bay Memorial Gardens.
Aber weil wir auch eben mit den Camerons, da kommen wir wieder einen Ticken zu tief, dass wenn sie den Runback spielt, dann legst du halt perfekt. Das ist halt dann auch, wenn wir weiter vorne sind, überlegt sie den Runback nicht, sondern macht nur auf, weil es ja nichts bringt, vorne im 8-Fuß zu liegen. Deswegen lieber nur in 8-Fuß oder 4-Fuß Geister, als auf die Tee. Weil dann lohnt sich der Runback.
Dann auch ein bisschen warten, dann kommt er auch rum. Weil die lagen immer fast offen bei mir.
Eben, und jetzt vor allem wirklich schauen, wenn die einen guten haben, müssen wir einen besseren bringen. Weil wirklich 2 Ends lang 0 Chance für mich.
Ja, das stimmt.
Und das fühlt sich halt auch, das war jetzt auch, das war geschätzt, das habe ich doch gespürt.
58.
Ja, eben, also das, was ich wollte.
Von der Linie dann.
Okay, wie das aufgeht. Nummer 2.
Jetzt wirklich einfach immer ein Stück besser. Jetzt wirklich am Gegner wechseln. Ja.
Well, 2 single points, both stolen on the board here. Ford World Women's Curling Championship 2018. Thanks for tuning in to our live coverage as we are in North Bay, Ontario, Canada. Right in the heart of Ontario, just a few hours north of Toronto. And a 2-0 lead. And as we see again, the 4th straight end, the guard to start off the end.
Well, it's been working for them so far. I think you'll see most teams definitely come into the rings with a 2-point lead. It just seems like they really want to force Germany to score that one and get last stone advantage back, but there's more than one way to do that. I guess throwing the center guard here, they're luring and sucking Germany into the play around the guard in the center line. As if with they're coming top 4, they pretty much force Germany to throw the corner. And then maybe bringing the play out to the wings instead. So maybe that's their tactic.
Now for Germany on the other side, could they change their strategy? Could they put a corner guard up, or even with the center, or draw to the open side, try and change it up a little bit?
I think definitely you could throw a corner guard here, just to try and bring the play away from the center line and leave you a few more options.
On this little change too, trying to play the run back, because they can with their own, but just over curl. Look over Switzerland and Canada 1-1 playing in the third. Looks like Switzerland has one back 4 foot and Jones has a tough angle slash.
Yeah, super thin little run here, potentially for 3. Typical Jennifer Jones shots.
Just goes underneath it, too thick, and it's a steal of 1 for Switzerland. Jennifer Jones and her team trying to become 2-time world champions. Last win for Jones at a Worlds, 2008. Meanwhile, we'll jump over Sweden and Denmark. And Sweden lying 2. Could draw for 1. Looks like trying to play the double.
Seems to be.
Angelina Jensen will over curl and give up the steal of 1, so a 3-1 Sweden lead over Denmark as they are through 3 ends of play.
Seemed to be a bit of a strange call. That's often the sign of a skip who's not too confident in draw weight.
And this is the first game of the event for both of those teams, but might be one where didn't have to, just had to get a piece of the 4 foot. And
I didn't see it.
if your skip doesn't have that draw weight, it could be a long week.
Yeah, indeed. Might as well try and find it in the first game. You're playing Sweden too. It's a game you might think you can afford to lose as well, being one of the biggest favorites in here. So shouldn't be shying away from the right calls. And now we will see a corner guard in play for Germany, and they'll be able to come around it. So the thought here is just to bring the play out to the wings. Try and to spread your stones around a little bit, just to maximize the scoring area. And if everything goes wrong, if push comes to shove, then that 4 foot is open and you can draw for 1. We haven't really seen that through the first 3 ends, so it'll be interesting to see how the Japanese cope with it. This draw not really coming fully buried, so a chance for the Japanese to make the hit and roll back towards that center line. Pretty close here. That is one great hit and roll. Wow. Indeed.
Right to the button.
Looking so in control as well, all the way down there with the Koana calling line. No panic at all. And it's just perfect.
Well, I know it's only early on, but very reminiscent of the young Satsuki Fujisawa team that we saw in 2016 go on a run to the World Final, losing that year to Germany, or pardon me, to Switzerland that year. Thinking the other time in Swift Current. Except that was Eve Muirhead running up against Andrea Schaap in 2010. Last time Germany has won a world championship was in 2010.
Came as a bit of a surprise too, I think, at that time.
Yeah, it had been a while since she had won one herself. Of course, Japan has never won a world championship. That was the closest they have come, winning that silver medal in 2016, losing that final to Binja Felcher.
missed by Germany here, so Japan had a chance to come around, and now all the play around that forfeit again. Sweepers not wanting to sweep it for weight. The line was getting all tight there. Seemed like they were happy to just crash on the guard there than to bring it past. Maybe an opportunity for Abbas to try and open it up here. We can't just red thin enough. Might start spill all the 3 guards, but maybe even spin that red stone into the rings. See if it might even direct towards the shot stone.
Went right through the hole.
Just wanted to go for that squeeze on the red too much. Had to catch really thin to spin it onto the rings. But certainly the most important and part of the task there was to really open up.
Make some contact.
Yeah. So that's on the wrong side of the tolerance there. And big trouble now because Japan can throw a high guard. And, you know, there's not many ways to roam. Are they maybe even trying to come around again here?
Yeah, they might just be.
Again, I am a little surprised by the call, but why not come around here?
Just put another one top of the button.
Sure. So it doesn't curl quite enough. Leaves a run on the tight center guard. You'd think you throw a long guard there, it'd be tough to Germany to get in. But leaving Abbas the same shot really. This time a little tighter. See where this redstone goes.
Run it straight back.
Ooh. That's a good shot.
Real good. A little unlucky that they didn't move that other one off the button a bit.
It also leaves a bit of a stagger on the guards, so it'll be hard to run that redstone back again, or impossible rather. Now certainly makes sense to throw the guard.
I think I saw an indication coming in again. Try and corner freeze that.
I did hear freeze just now. I guess Germany can't really run those center guards in, so with the staggers, they're pretty safe anyway. But coming into the rings might take away potentially a corner, an angled run on the corner guard in for 2, or a chance for Germany to come in again.
Well, this is the first of skip stones for Ikuana. Well, it's a good miss. Way to missing that one short. It's better than coming too deep.
Das ist so gefährlich.
Schon gefährlich.
Ja, da rollt der aber auf.
Eben, ja. Ich muss den ja wirklich hier oben drüber kriegen, damit er Sinn macht. Und dann ist das ja ein kurzer. So eher der, aber der ist eher was für den letzten.
Sollen wir einfach aufmachen, ne?
Ich glaube fast auch.
Ja.
Dann haben wir den
Sobald wir da hinkommen, haben wir 2, weißt du?
Well, slide over,
deswegen,
look in on USA, Italy. Italy giving up the 3 in the previous end. Now Diana Gaspari got to throw a rocket to try and spell 2 out.
Yeah, not the heaviest hitter in the game, Gaspari, but really needing some oomph to try and remove the reds, but just crashing on the guard.
So steal of 2 and an early 5-0 hole that they've dug themselves into, heading to the 5th end of that game.
We'll see Germany now realizing that, again, they just need to open up the center line here. Play the double on those 2 stones, just above the brush of Abbas. hopefully, so they can make a play on that redstone top 4. On our last one here, Jentzsch. Hoping to spill that redstone in as well, which they do.
Yeah, and a difference this end would be if Abbas may have been able to clear the front up. They would have had access to that a lot sooner. Now they have a couple different options, even if this guard is placed back out in front.
So essentially just guarding the redstone top 4. That's what Germany wants to make a play on. To tap that yellow shot stone out and score 2. The line is a lot more important than weight for this one. Maybe starting to overcurl here, so just looking for this one to settle down, but just crossing the line a little bit certainly leaves that chance for Germany. Sometimes throwing the guard's not that easy on swinging ice.
Well, the guard shouldn't be a factor at this point.
The bad thing there for Japan is could have afforded to have even shown a bit of that redstone on the left-hand side, so that was even a good foot to the right. It would have been fine. Certainly overexposing this redstone for Jentzsch. You feel that they really need to make this one now to score 2 and tie the game. Can't afford to give up another steal.
So final stone here, Daniela Jentzsch. Now try and get as close to nose, and look at that. There it is for the deuce and a tie game. Just like that, the guard missed, and we are all square. 2-2 through 4 ends of play.
Derzeit ist okay.
So, jetzt vorhin hatten wir auch vor, das 5. End etwas gelassen zu halten.
初ハンマーじゃない？そうだね。うん、ちょっと重そうだった相手投げた時。そうだね。インハウスのやつがどんなってたし。ブランクしてもいいね、5エンド目。できればブランクだな。セカンドの1投目ぐらいまで置いてみて、ダメそうだったら。オッケー、ノートする。まあうちらここだからな。
Well, the first score of the game comes in a deuce for Germany as they tie things up with Japan here. It is session 2. You're watching live coverage. Myself, Luke Coley, and Sandra Rolvog. It has been a fun start to this game, an aggressive game called from both sides.
Yeah, I think really Japan, with some offensive calls, sucking Germany into it. Kept the play very much along the central line, the forefoot. Japan's called some really ambitious shots and made them. It's a little bit ironic that the mistake that cost them the 2 was a very straightforward, simple guard. Just over curling Tori Koana, and left the chance for Jens to make a tap for 2. But it'll be interesting now to see Japan, what they will do with the last on advantage, seeing as they haven't even played with it yet through the first 4 ends. Sometimes that really changes the momentum in the game when that hammer switches.
Especially when you have it for a long time, as Germany had for 4 straight ends. Put the corner guard out in front. With that first stone going to the top of the 12-foot.
This is the first corner guard we've seen in the game too. Germany was very happy to come around the center guards that were thrown up by Japan.
Well, jump over Switzerland and Canada. Canada lying 2nd and 3rd, and I think nose hit close to whether they have a chance at 3.
Yeah, just hoping that will jam in the back and not spin too far. Let's see if it comes off. 2 is the most important here, though, for Jennifer Jones. Oh, just barely made it.
Yeah, just hung around. I think if they catch a little more, they might spill that red out and get 3, but it is a 2 for Canada. So they have a 3-2 lead after 4 ends of play. It's a battle of 2 former world champions, and slide over Denmark and Sweden. This time facing 2 Swedish stones. Angelina Jensen drawing to get a single.
And this time not many options other than to play the draw. Should be pretty straightforward. Keeping this alive and looking pretty nice. Came a little too close to that red stone for comfort, but why not come fully buried just for show.
And right to the button. So draw weight there for Angelina Jensen to get 1 on the board. So they're down 3-2 playing the 5th end. As we try to keep you moving around all around the house here, North Bay Memorial Gardens. Of course, the home of junior hockey team, the North Bay Battalion. And they've had to go on a bit of a road trip, and curling comes to take over their building. But a nice size, an intimate building to have a world championship. Fans get right close to the action. Some places you're a little bit further away, but here they're just about right next to it. And good vantage points from all throughout the building to watch all 4 games going on. Our feature game, Germany and Japan. Here's a look across the gardens, and where we sit, we are on sheet C for our feature match. And trading hits right now. See how Japan tries to generate their offense using the corner guard.
Okay, der erste war aussehen. Okay. Gut. Was meinst du die Längen?
So trying to use that corner guard, and it looks like with a quiet hit and roll.
Yeah, just catch this red stone. Make the head roll should just be enough to sit in rings for second shot.
Mayo Ishigaki, 86% on the game. Hit. will just hang around. Nicely done.
It's pretty perfect. We've seen them make some really nice hit and rolls so far in this game. That's another one. And that's such an important shot to be able to utilize as well. I think very often you'll see the teams that make the hit and rolls, they're the ones that come out on top. Essentially doing two things in one. Removing an opposition stone, but also replacing when you're on. So it's yeah, quite important. It's tough to make them.
Well, and that one just hung around. There wasn't much room to still hit that one.
Well, if you roll out there, Germany might clip that corner guard and kill the offense for you. Germany actually coming around the corner guard.
And that'll go right through. So just like that, the hit and roll, and you can hit roll on the top one. You could just play the straight come around, but I think lie two. Well, the reaction, Abbas, after her draw, went through the rings.
It's not a good feeling. It seemed that Japan's looking to maybe make the long hit and roll here. Again, just trying to get two birds with one stone, so to speak, but won't quite make it all the way there.
But they sort of lump their stones together. Can you make the double now?
Well, at the first glance, looked like this stone just a bit lower than the other one. Not sure if you can roll that flatly across. Not playing big weight here either, so it'll be more about just making the roll in behind cover here.
Well, I think they might have bumped it enough to push it just out. Well, high fives around, they like that one. Still in the rings.
Yeah, it's certainly possible to make the double. Just a tad more weight. That might be tough for Japan to get to that red stone. Also kind of chokes off the draw in and around the corner guard. You could see them ignore it and just come around it. We've seen them play a few runbacks too.
When it first came to rest, I thought that they would play the run back. Just seeing what they played so far.
Yeah, I'm not really surprised anymore.
Early in the game, in the first or second end, you might have been surprised. Expect the unexpected. Sometimes with this Japanese team. And
I think you might see other teams call this. It's not too crazy. Could be really good here if you make it. Try and sit too. Looking close. Oh, wow. Really good.
Just for good measure, they kill the other one in the back that wasn't in play. Well, it was in play, but not in the rings.
They're so high in the rings. Fully buried. Very tough to get to for our Germany.
That's some great shot making, and to get that one right on the nose and stick it there.
Von
innen, hä? Fast einfacher.
Ja gut, wenn man hier haben.
Ja, ich habe schon gedacht, richtig schnell mit viel Umdrehung hier. Und dann weiß ich halt nicht, wie weit sie trullern.
Ja.
Nicht, dass er halt
Aber du siehst
Kann man
besser.
auch.
Ist so besser.
Nee, kann man auch.
Du hast schon mehr.
schnell genug kommt hier.
Erfahrung.
Ja.
So?
Ja. Vorhin ist er doch recht gezogen,
Oder
gell?
so,
Ja.
ja. Schau's dir noch mehr an von hinten.
Well, trying to follow it back with the run of their own. This time, it's a little trickier because you're running an opponent's stone. The angle that you have to hit.
Ich will halt nur, dass das der Shooter geht.
got
weil
two
die
options here.
liegen dann außerhalb der
Run this
Tauschreihe.
on the top yellow or the one on the far wing.
Nase
Weißt du,
wäre
eine Nase
sogar
wäre okay. Ja.
I think ideally they might be trying to slash this and roll to the center line. That way you kill one of the yellows but also open up the second one.
Ging jetzt gut? Wow, ja, ja, ja.
Daniela Jentsch
Wow, ja.
trying to play the run double.
Hard. Wow, ja.
Well,
Shooter.
sounds close,
Schade.
Okay.
but a worst case scenario leaves the guard and
Schon gut.
leaves Japan lying too.
Schade. Die?
Oh, they're real close to getting both of them.
Dieかな?
Yeah, initially I thought just trying to catch the inside there and at least clip one of them.
あんまり後ろだとトリプルが
That was certainly the danger if that's the way they were trying to play it for the double. To leave both in the house, and they're quite flat as well. Not necessarily an automatic double for Jentsch on those two yellows. And I'm quite sure we'll see a third stone come into the rings here from Tori Koana.
なんかなさそうだな。なさそう。ないよ。よー。ちょっとないわ。
Well, right out of her hand, they got on that.
見てる。幅がちょっとある。ちょっと上となさそう。上となさそう。
Having a look.
それが平行に3つ並べてます。
So just splitting the rings here, really.
4まで。オッケー。4あるよ。ここまで。でもそう。
Just making sure not to put all their eggs in one basket. That's pretty good there. No real easy double takeout for Daniela Jentsch.
Ich denke, mit dem hat sie auch sicher zwei.
Ja, auch schon überlegt, ja, ich glaube auch.
The one to the right side of your screen might be just a little easier because it's closer, and you don't have to move that one very far to get it out. But you also have to throw it really hard to move it and keep it that flat.
Ich glaube, der ist fast einfacher.
Einfacher,
Ich glaub
okay.
schon. Nur so mit deiner Länge von eben, oder?
Okay.
Deiner war normal, also 10, so wie Sissys auch.
Ja.
Oder als Peel und auch genauso voll wie
Ja.
eben, den kriegt man doch so weit gerollt, oder?
Ja.
Ja,
Good
komm,
thing
dann-
about playing the double on the right here. If you catch the tooth, you might be able to roll
Und dann einfach den
for
Ticken
second
rollen.
shot.
Ja,
Maybe
Fast da treffen.
a tad buried to make it a little bit harder for Japan. But certainly missing a double either way here leaves a chance for Japan to score 3.
Gut, gut, die Schnur. Mal.
Again, doesn't look like a lot of ice to play this double.
Let's see if we'll get a little bit of an extra extension. Not huge.
Ja, ja. Ja.
Alles.
Hard.
Halt ihn da.
Ja.
Alles.
It's pretty close here.
Und rüber.
Well, hit. Do they have enough to bump it out?
Schön.
Nicely done to allow just to score a 2.
Sehr gut.
Perfekt.
Gut.
Quick look. The yellow's out.
Ah, Sissy, kannst du mir
Draw
kurz
for
deinen
R2.
Anschlussleiter geben? Oder reicht dem Amy's Pass?
See, that yellow one just got moved out enough.
赤半分は見えてるんだけど。出てるの。出てるんだ。そうか。オッケー。今のでいいよ。オッケー。
Scoring 2 back though, really good for Japan. I'd love to do it right before a halftime break as well. Have a good feeling coming in.
Tori Koana,
ちょっとなさそうに見えるな。
first time skip,
いいよ。
first time player at a world championship.
オッケー。前はよく使ってる
Needs full 12 foot.
This is the type of shot that should be routine. So this one
Onodera, Ishigaki,
pulling up.
and they will come up short of the house, pulls the string. And it is just a single point, but does mean Japan will have a single point lead heading to the fifth end break.
15.2 ハーフだね。ハーフだな。ごめん、ナイスイップ。よしよし。ナイスイップ。あ、今度きつい。4秒だった私は。
ちょっと外だったから重かったのか。
使ってなかったからかな。しばらく。使ってなかったからな。よく使ってたらいいんで終わる。まあでも5円ダメだからちょっと重くなってきたのかもね。内外が滑ってきて。あんま使ってなかったからしばらく使ってなかったから滑ってないのか2投ぐらい使ったら滑ってくるのかな分かんなちょっと投げた時からなさそうな感じだったにしてもちょっとまあねよしよし顔が邪魔邪魔だよ
Und ich spiele hier nach außen und der kackt voll ab. Und ihrer ist einfach länger in der Mitte gelaufen. Klassisch sein, schon? Ja. Ist schwierig.
Sehr
Die
schwierig.
Längen sind sehr unterschiedlich.
Hat sich kurz gelegt.
Klassisch zu einem gezwungen, aber auch schon gesagt.
Ganz klassisch.
War die kurze Gas.
Okay.
Gut, wir sind jetzt weiter auf Kurs, bleiben dran als Nadobeißer.
Ja.
Trotzdem, wir haben alle Chancen, wir lassen einfach gerade ein bisschen zu viel liegen. Wir müssen einfach schauen, dass unser Spiel wieder bis nach oben kommt. Manchmal vorhin einmal super gemacht, wo man dann wirklich, das war in dem Ende, wo wir die 2 gemacht haben, hast du dann endlich mal die Mitte.
Well, second end of our feature game, Japan and Germany. And a in-turn draw, chance to draw in and get a single point. But Daniela Jentsch just comes up short on her draw, meaning Japan scores first with a steal of 1 in the second. And a draw in the third. Real wide, got to come around those guards, get into the forefoot, maybe even a piece of the button. Wasn't sure if the draw was going to be there. Weight not quite there, doesn't curl enough, and it is a single point stolen again by Japan. Well, a guard missed by Japan, meaning Daniela Jentsch. Chance to get on the board with a deuce as the out-turn hit and stick to bring 2 counters into play. And just like that, it's all square. Look over Switzerland and Canada. 2 past world champion skips Binja Felcher, 2-time world champ, has a chance to play the out-turn hit. Jones didn't quite get buried enough on her last for Team Canada. And Felcher, the out-turn hit and stick for 1. Well, nicely done by Binja Felcher. Tie things up 3-3. As you see there, the other scores, Sweden gets a deuce in the 5th, so they lead 5-2 playing in 6. 6-0, USA leading Italy. Italy yet to get on the board here. Our feature game, 3-2, Japan leading Germany in the 6th end. And 3-3, Canada, Switzerland, as they'll head to their 6th end right away. Well, as we've hit the halfway mark, fifth end break, a 3-2 Japan lead. As we look at the percentage, the advantage and total percentage for Japan and in the draw percentage. But hit advantage to the German side. 2 stolen points, 1 in the second, 1 in the third. As I said, a 3-2 game heading to the second half of this game. Well, all 4 games hitting their fifth end break at the same time. Thanks for tuning in. Luke Kohler here with Sandra Rovag in the Ford World Women's Curling Championship 2018. We are on day 1. Of course, a 13-team field for the first time. And Sandra, a little different playoff format this year.
Yeah, so with the 13 teams now, 6 teams will progress to the playoff stages, where rank 1 and 2 will go to the semi-finals. Number 1 goes to the one semi-final, number 2 goes to the other, and the teams ranked 3 through 6 will play in 2 quarterfinals, and the winners of those quarters will progress and play in the semis. So certainly being ranked 1 and 2, big advantage for the teams, and that's what they'll be looking to do.
As these teams will, Pia Lisa Scholl at 85% on the game. And a difference, not the 1-2 game that there used to be at the Page system, where you'd get a second life in the playoffs. If you lost your first, all the playoffs, all sudden death. I love it.
Yep, I think it's adds to the drama a little bit more. You might say the Page system is more fair, if you want to put it. That's a word that's certainly being thrown around, but I don't feel like sports should be
are not
perfectly fair all the time.
Sports are not fair.
Exactly. So it's good to have sudden death games, and with 16 through, we get quite a few exciting playoff games.
There's nothing like the suspense and the drama of those sudden death semifinals. We both saw it at the Olympic Winter Games. Anything can happen. Say sports aren't fair. Just ask the Korean team that lost the final on the women's side, or the Swedish team that lost the final in the men's Olympics. Things don't happen always the way they should.
And also the World Junior Championship in Aberdeen just recently. Sweden on the women's side and the Scotland on the men's were all undefeated throughout to the final and lost. That's just a part of the game.
It is. So the first 2 into the house for the Japanese side. Corner guard goes up really for the first time for Germany. Not quite the double, but a nice shot to keep their shooter there. It'll open up possible play behind that corner later on. Well, here's the hit and roll. Sandra, you talked about it in the 5th, the hit and roll. Try and make the rolls. You make this, and all of a sudden you're set up.
That's a really good tool. But so often we see teams not making them. And such, and you get the bit of a cat and mouse game where one team's just trying to make the roll towards the guards, the other team rolls back and just never find the perfect cover. So the option here could be to just play the straight draw around the corner, feeling like your opponent is probably going to try and chase you anyway.
Yeah, I think you might see that right away by Germany, the way it's shaping up so far.
You could see it now, especially since it's almost starting to run out of rings on this one. With the hit and stick here, now all of the 8-foot is open and more. That stone is not really in a dangerous spot for Germany, so I wouldn't mind seeing them just play the straight draw around the corner here, seeing how the 4-foot is, and the 8-foot even is just so open anyway. There's nothing for Japan to guard. But still just a 1-point deficit, so no need to take too many chances.
Annalena Jentsch, 88% on the game. But there's the hit and the roll out. That's what she didn't want to do. Japan can go up, peel the corner. That's a dangerous stone right now.
We'll see Japan peel the corner too, which I think you'll see most teams do. I wasn't sure if Japan was going to.
Yeah, it was. She didn't run up there. Sometimes you'll see the skip be up there right away.
It's a good call here by Japan, knowing it's the 6th end, it's the even ends. Even a blank here, it's pretty good for Japan. They can try and force Germany to score one in the 7th instead. Take control of the even ends. Just pure math, really. Look at the scoreboard. There's one more even end than odd ends, so if you score in the even ends, you score one more time than your opponent. So Japan's trying to take that advantage away from Germany by getting a blank end here, and that's pretty much what we're looking at now, unless we get any big mistakes.
65% Amira Abbas.
Make a nice head and stick here. So it's Japanese side. They won their Japanese national championship. Tatsuki Fujisawa's team did not participate. The Olympic teams, I guess, weren't allowed to do so. Yosuke Muruzumi and the men's also didn't play in the national championship, but they won the right to come here. There's a handful of good teams in Japan.
Nice thing is you get some development. You get other teams a chance to experience a world championship. This team hasn't played at this type of event, in this type of crowd, the arena environment outside of Japan. So it's really good for the growth of the sport. And coming in, they may not be even 1 or 2. They're probably ranked probably 4th, 3rd or 4th in their country, and now you're here playing at a world championship. It's going to be a great experience for this team. No matter the result, obviously you want to have good results, but you go out and have a good week, it's going to be okay.
Yeah, well, you know, there's no Olympic points this year, and that's why you'll see some new faces, just because the federations will allow other teams a chance. Certain federations will certainly put all their funding into certain teams and send them, might even allow other teams a chance to get to the championships. So it's nice to give other teams the opportunity. Certainly this team's taken that opportunity to get here, and you might say yes, it might just be a bit of a learning experience for them, a really valuable one as well. But the way they're playing here, I think you might see them win a few games.
Well, there's a few more newcomers to the event. Of course, with that format. See Scotland sending a different team, but it was Scotland beating the Olympic representative in Eve Muirhead to get to the World Championship here.
Yeah, they played a best out of 3 games in Perth, Scotland. Team Hannah Fleming, picked up their chance to represent Scotland, so it's all fair and square.
And every country does different things. You see Sweden, they have their Olympic team here. Korea, it's the same Olympic team as we see Daniela Jentsch. 60% on the game, trailing 3-2.
Mullen
rolls just out, so now Japan can have a free draw, put one in front, and maybe get a little bit of a mistake. Trying to make the blank a little more difficult.
And just maybe taking a little too much ice. Not sure if it's going to make it all the way over there. You'll see techniques a little different for the in-turn, the out-turn. So either if you're playing an in-turn or an out-turn, clockwise, counterclockwise, you'll always start at the 10 o'clock position. So for the in-turn, it's very similar to most players in the field where they just start at 10, straighten it out and release. But for the out-turn, she'll still start at that 10 o'clock position, pull it back to 2 o'clock and then back to 12. So it's a bit of a technical thing she'll be doing to...
There's
I guess it's working, just working for her.
Yeah, here's this in the clockwise rotation, can say.
And that's how most players throw it.
The tradition, could say the conventional. We'll
Yeah.
continue to use the word conventional. You know what? Some players have found a way that it causes them. Maybe she was a little less rotation on her out turn, and this caused her to create more.
Yeah, and sometimes you just try a new thing, see if this works, and if it's working for you, then you stick to it.
Well, this to blank the end now for Daniela Jentsch. Trying to retain hammer. And just like that, a blank sixth end. Second blank of the game means we'll keep the 3-2 score. Germany will retain the hammer as we'll head to the seventh end.
伸びてはいるわ。
半分けの割には結構伸びてる。
Ja, genau. Wenn wir gerade überlegt haben, ob es jetzt gut ist, aufs Scoreboard zu kommen, aber es reicht im Achern auch noch.
Ja.
Also wir haben Zeit.
Genau.
Wir haben keinen Stress. Jetzt einfach erstmal wieder zu uns finden.
Ja.
Den hier bisschen, weißt du, auch die müde machen.
Genau.
Ja.
Deswegen einfach mal. Okay. Gut. Wir sind ja nah dran, weißt du, und den einen machen können wir immer.
Ja.
Das ist egal in welchem End.
Ja.
Nee, aber dann
Aber jetzt eher auf Null, wenn es geht, oder?
Ja, ja, klar. Genau. Einfach dranbleiben.
Ja.
Genau. Einfach versuchen, denen das Leben ein bisschen schwerer zu machen und einfach wieder immer eins besser als die.
Genau. Okay.
Das kriegen wir hin.
Well, a 3-2 game as we play into the seventh. Thanks for tuning in our live coverage. Luke Coley, Sandra Rovag, and live game here from the North Bay Memorial Gardens.
Just waiting for the clock to run down here. Between ends, there'll be just a clock to time down the pause, and we'll have to wait for that to run out to start the end.
Jump over United States of America taking on Italy. Diana Gaspari down 6-0.
Looks to be an angled run
Raise
and roll, double split,
two.
whatever you want to call it. For two, very tough shot here from Gaspari, and this one seems to be lost.
Over curling and will hit, and another steal This of another 2. And it is now 8-0 after 6 ends. Italy yet to get on the board through 6.
Muss auf das Center bleiben. Muss genau dort bleiben.
Jump over Canada and Switzerland 3-3. See, Switzerland is lying 3, putting the pressure on Canada every time. Canada's really had the hammer in this game. Out turn, trying to draw down to needs full 4-foot piece of the button for a single. Well, right to the button as Canada gets their 1. So they lead 4-3 after 6 ends of play. It's been a back and forth game there. Meanwhile, our feature game wide open. First stone went in. Germany with the hammered sides. And we don't mind blanket. We'll try and keep 2 hammers to 1. Keep the hammer into the even ends. Is that a case of maybe inexperience having that one slide in for Japan?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's, you know Germany's going to make that hit and go for the blank. Or you should know it anyway. That's a bit unfortunate. Then we're not really getting too much action in this end, but this is really just playing the scoreboard. Very tactical approach by Germany.
Well, Ribbank scrubbed to try and hold it, and that one will flash it, slide right by Mayo Ishigaki. Well, now split the rings, try and not set up a double. Japan will try and make a couple of rolls, try and get them closer together.
Den haben wir jetzt lassen und war gleiche Zeit. Du darfst nur nicht anspringen.
Genau, ich glaube auch.
Genau.
Gut. Super.
Well, Ishigaki. Sports hero is Ichiro Suzuki. Baseball player. Well, a little roll in, and it is shot, so. Germany electing to play the freeze on it. Kind of unconventional thought here. You freeze, I thought you might just hit it back. It's still a long ways away to not leave a double.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised by this, to be honest. This is where you're quite happy to get your deuce, but at the same time, the game plan here was to blank. So by making the hit, still a good chance for the 2. If they make the double, then you go for the blank. But playing the freeze here, essentially, could be bringing the force into play for Japan to try and lie 2, but it's a pretty well played shot there. So Japan won't be able to make a hit and roll to sit 2, or they could, but it would leave a double back for Germany. Yeah, I'm just not sure what Germany gains from playing the freeze.
Yes, threes really, you're going to need more mistakes if you're going to get a 3 out of it.
Yeah, you could play the perfect freeze and hope for another mistake. We did see one flash shot there from Japan, but to get 2 in one end seems a bit unlikely. I was hoping to not tackle that yellow and perhaps sit 2 there on Onodera. Certainly now Germany needs to make the hit, and they will. Just knows or Nase, as they say.
Well, with this in front of the tee line now, Germany decides to hit, keeping them well spread.
Gut gestellt. Ja.
Gut. Okay.
Schön so.
Der die Kurve.
Well, Onodera actually played at the 2014 Sochi Olympic Winter Games. Second for the team there.
And that's probably why she's on the ice tonight, just to bring a little bit of experience and maybe help these girls out when it starts to become all tough. But
she has struggled in this game and misses that. And maybe it's a little difference because she's not used to playing as much with them. Put someone else in the lineup. She's at 77%, but that miss hitting it on the wrong side. You got to hit it on the other side. So
yeah,
2 misses in this end.
Curling very much a team game. It's really about knowing each other well. So just coming into the team and having a completely different skip is sometimes a bit hard. And I think it's quite important for Onodera then to take a little more charge of her shots and ice her own shots, because she knows how she throws probably more than the skip does. And just to have the confidence to be able to jump into a team and maybe make those decisions is a little hard. But now we're getting back-to-back mistakes here. I think Ab is also a bit of a struggle this evening.
Yeah, 73% for the German third.
Now all of a sudden Japan's going to make the play on the stone to the left, so a bit of inconsistency showing from Japan, but this makes a lot more sense, because higher in the house you'll be able to roll a lot farther and still keep it for shot stone. Essentially trying to group the red stones, maybe get a double to get out of the end here, Japan.
Well, you talked about Onodera being inserted into the lineup. It was Tori Kawana who actually was brought in to skip this team as just before their national championship, because regular skip this team was pregnant and unable to play. So they go on and win it. At least they played that event together. But now here at a World Championship, Kawana trying to roll this one over. Now will it go too far? Over the top of that one.
I think they were looking for the double there, sweeping it really hard for line through the big weight. So went for the big shot again this time, though not quite working out for them. Very, very close.
Yeah, it was a solid effort on that one. But went aggressively at that one, knowing that even giving up a deuce here isn't bad. Then you get the hammer back into the 8th end.
Ich habe ja nur einmal gelegt bis jetzt.
80 oder 90
ja.
Okay.
I think if you're Daniela Jentsch here, you want to try and bring this as deep as possible. Don't want to leave a double for Team Japan. They'll be quite happy to take it on.
Ja.
So ganz gerade, ganz gerade.
Läuft
Noch
ganz
ganz
gerade.
gerade.
Drauf noch. Könnt ihr warten?
Nur wenn er braucht.
Hierher. Hierher.
Well, they want to bring this back 12 foot. They don't want to be high and leave another run at the double. Well, as that one comes down to the back of the rings, we'll look over Sweden and Denmark. And Sweden lying for Angelina Jensen. The outturn draw to try and get a single point. Knudsen and Groenbeck trying to take this one as far as they can. And it will come up short. Now, how many is it? Steal of 2 as you hear them. So 7-2, Sweden leading Denmark.
2 red.
After 6 ends on sheet A.
2 red. 2. Okay.
So getting what we would expect to see out of Anna Hasselborg and that Swedish team trying to win a world championship just a month after winning the Olympic Winter Games. Well, no double this time on our feature game for Tori Koana.
So und einfach 10, oder?
Genau, so wie immer.
Gut, schön auf die Nase.
So the hit and stick, and it is a deuce for Germany. It'll be their second deuce of the game. Well, Daniela needs the nose hit. And she'll be right on the nose. Gets the 2. And their first lead of the game comes after 7. Germany with a single point lead up 4-3 over Japan after 7.
Das wollten wir nicht und jetzt haben wir 2.
Ja, meine nicht, ist halt so. Aber ist okay.
Haben wir gut gemacht.
Jetzt ist nur die Frage, sie will jetzt auch 2 machen, deswegen gehen wir jetzt ins Haus und machen dann die Gas. Dass wir sie einfach so schwer wie möglich machen. Wenn sie 2 macht, ist kein Problem, aber wir wehren uns jetzt einfach so gut es geht. Immer eins besser als die. Wir haben die voll im Griff, das ist echt schwer. Wirklich. Die werden immer schwächer auf dem Takeout, deswegen jetzt bleiben wir einfach
Genau, wir bleiben uns.
Wahrscheinlich noch ewig Zeit.
Well, the second score of the game for Germany gives them the 4-3 advantage. Here, the Ford World Women's Curling Championship, coming to you live from North Bay, Canada.
Vorne 4. Nur sauber, bleibt dran, bleibt dran.
Vorne 4.
Vorne 4.
Pia-Lisa Scholl.
Nein, jetzt gut.
Ja, ein bisschen ab, glaube ich, oder?
Nur sauber, nur sauber.
14-0.
Ja, ist fast hier rein.
Wenn das Auge stimmt, was mir gesagt hat, da kommt auch
We'll go top of the forefoot.
Super. 80. 5 Minuten 12. Thank you.
Well, we have our first final. Italy gets on the board with 1, but they decide that's it. So 8-1 the final. USA with their first win in their first game.
入りそうだな。止まるかな。93.8。
But a mistake, that one slides into the rings.
Oh, da kam so eine Staubwolke hoch. 06, war ein Tick schneller. Gut so. Ja.
So Sandra, that's interesting with the mistake there sliding in. That could change how you go your strategy next year when the 5-rock rule, free guard zone rule comes into play. Sliding in, then you have another one. If you put a corner up now, it couldn't be peeled for another stone.
Yeah, well, definitely gets what leaves the leads a second chance to make up for. But that you know, slipping into the rings with the corner guard now, the 4-rock rule really kills the offense for your team. Such a big mistake to make. It's probably the biggest one you can do as lead, and it never feels nice.
No. This time the corner guard is in a good position, and with the 4-rock free guard zone rule, it's in effect. I was talking the 5-rock rule comes into next curling season.
Yep. Well, definitely if you're trailing in the game, you'll throw it again. But then the question is, what would Germany do in that case?
Yeah, that's
come in to
do you put a center
three
line guard?
or, yeah, guard. That'll be fun to see what how that changes the game. But
I think it'll be an evolving strategy as teams play it more often. There's some events that are played with the 5-rock rule on the World Curling Tour, but most of these teams here probably are not very familiar with it, especially on the women's side. As we keep you up to date, Switzerland and Canada. Binja Felcher and her Swiss team coming off a loss earlier today to China. It looks like it is a draw for 1.
Sweepers looking pretty happy with it. Was calling T-line anyway.
Well, now did they think they had the weight maybe to try and tap it? No, they won't. They'll just get 1. So it is 4-4 after 7, Canada and Switzerland. Meanwhile, Germany-Japan is our feature game. We see a comparison of the players at second. Jensch 88, Shigaki 84%, but was a miss by the Japanese second in that 7th end, which led to the deuce. They don't roll, so is there a chance at making the double?
Yeah, still a few stones left in this end, so Japan's still looking to score a soft deuce, meaning you won't take a lot of risk, but they'll still try and make some shots with a bit of offense to maybe force a simple mistake from Germany and get their 2 after all. Looking to play the hit and roll off the top one. And now changing up the call and getting to the back one, so that's a good line call by the skipper to see that they were never going to be able to curl enough to get to the top red.
Now forces, not a long run back, but you force them to run it. You maybe hit it a little off. You'll have 1 roll out and just leave 1 stone in the rings. Mira Abyss.
Gleiche Länge.
Sauber. Sauber. Hier sauber. Hier sauber.
Well, great to keep both the reds here and also get that separation. That's a good shot there by Abbas.
Quite a bit of separation there. Japan doesn't mind just getting one, so keeping it open is okay, but they'd ideally like to score 2 with the hammer.
So try the hit and roll off the top red again. This time the roll is a bit longer.
Really working, trying to get the roll off to the other side.
Ja, gleiche Länge. Genau.
Look at the third numbers, both lower, but Onodera with the 75 to 68% advantage. Abbas struggling with her draws, just at 42%. But right on with that hit. Sticks to lie 2.
Aber ich glaube, die passen mit meinen 10 an zusammen.
こっちから行く？こっちから。11。向いてよかったよ。
Well, we'll take a look over as well as this one comes to rest on our feature game, Sweden and Denmark. And again, Sweden has one in behind. Is there a way to get at it? Sander trying to look from our vantage point what Angelina Jensen has. And we'll see it right away.
Trying curl enough here to try and nudge that red stone. Just doesn't quite get there.
And another steal, so now it'll go 8-2, and we'll get back to our feature game here. So the nose hit to remain lying 2. And we'll tell you that they did shake hands over on sheet A. Sweden with the win, so they move to 1-0, beating Denmark 8-2. So pretty open play here in these last few ends.
13半でいくかな。
And funny just with Kawana using a different broom to sweep as she leaves hers at that end. She'll actually physically grab the broom of her vice skip, Arisa Kotani, slide it over to where she actually needs it. Just a little different dynamic that you don't normally see.
Just sometimes players really prefer a different broom. Just like when she has a hairbrush, which is not allowed to sweep with anymore.
Just looking to freeze to that side one. No one had to give a chance to try and score 2. We see the skip numbers. Jentsch only 3 draws, but 33%. 79 for Kwana. 70 overall for Daniela Jentsch.
Einfach gleiche Länge wie oben, oder? Das wird passen. Gleiche Länge wie eben.
Ja, maximal ein bisschen flüssig, aber gleich ist eigentlich gut.
Ja. Ja, aber ich würde schon gern 3-mal liegen.
Ja.
Ja, ja.
Haben wir ganz recht.
So, dass er kann.
Ja.
Jentsch saying they would quite like to be able to lie 3 here.
Ist gut, schneller als eben. Ja. Ja. Schneller als eben. Ja. 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 Halt ihn da. Der ist gut so. Der ist gut so. Halt ihn da. Schön. Schön.
Sehr schön.
Man tickt schneller.
Well, lie 3 she does.
Ja, mal 10 schneller ist gut.
Lieber wir 3-mal als der Gegner.
Ja. Ach, jetzt 10 Mal.
Ich wollte auch gerade sagen.
Lieber wir
Well,
3-mal als der Gegner.
It's the easiest way to score your 1.
ちょっとだけライン変わってるんだよね。まあ自信なかったら全然テイクでもいいと思うし。
Well, maybe not 100% confident with draw weight, Kwana. He did miss that draw for 2 in the first end. Came up short of the rings. Definitely coming up short of the rings here, not an option. Did just play a draw down this line. Maybe just feeling like, you know, I'll take a bit less ice, throw a heavy draw, or probably more of a hack waiter. But still, I'd quite like to see skips just call the draw in these situations.
Use your sweepers and you just need good full 8-foot. Here playing a little heavier, little quiet tap back. Not a problem. Still gets their 1. So that will tie this game up as we are through 8 ends of play, 2 remaining. Germany and Japan here from the Ford World Women's Curling Championship.
Genau.
Wirklich kontrolliert? Ja. Ich muss aber überlegen, wenn sie jetzt die Center Guard spielt, ob wir gleich auf die Seite legen, weil ich glaube, das wäre mir ganz recht. Weil dann haben wir die Chance für 2.
Ja.
Oder sie muss anfangen wegspielen, dann können wir irgendwann die Guard nehmen. Oder? Ich würde jetzt gar nicht anfangen, mit denen da
Nee,
mitzukämpfen.
hast recht.
Einfach wirklich unser Spiel weitermachen, weil die haben genug Schwierigkeiten mit ihren Takeout-Längen gerade. Deswegen sind wir echt stark. Immer eins besser als die.
Genau.
Einfach genauso weiter. Ja.
Auf geht's.
Wirklich am Gegner stark spielen.
Ja.
Auf geht's. Stark bleiben. Danke.
Well, the 9th end will begin here. Thanks for watching live coverage. The North Bay Memorial Gardens. Luke Coley, Sandra Rolvog with you. This has been a back and forth game. Not quite as aggressive and offensive as we saw in the first half. It's slowed down a little bit. More strategic, more a bit of a chess game going on the last couple ends.
Yeah, but also a few mistakes early on by the lead players kind of killed the game plan for the teams. It's going to happen sometimes. And now definitely the game plan for Japan is to throw the center guard, try and force a score. I wouldn't want Germany to be able to blank here and retain the last on advantage with a tight score coming home. So I really, really want to make sure Germany scores one, get that last on advantage back, try and score 2 for the win, Japan. Well, you see Germany, they'll draw it to the wing, so staying away from that forefoot, staying away from the center line. Not getting too sucked into that, but also leaving a stone out in the wing that Japan needs to consider. It'll be interesting to see if Japan throws a second center guard here to really force to play, or hits this red stone out in the wing.
The hit on the side basically is what Germany wants.
Yes. That's basically why they're putting the stone there. And Japan's going to have to make a very good roll at some point. Keeps it quite high, so the roll is there. But for Japan, if you ever roll out here, or
blank end,
not here, it would still sit in the free guard zone, but if you roll out any of these hit and rolls, Germany peels the center, and then blank end indeed. I think you'll see quite a lot of teams, more now than before, throw that second center guard.
Yeah, in a close game like this.
This one is over curling. Just enough to stick around.
Yeah. That'll just nibble the rings. Well, now Germany wants a roll, but not too much of a roll to leave that short hit roll behind.
Yeah, and at the same time for Germany, they can't roll out here because they'll leave a free draw around the center guard for Japan. That's what Japan's hoping for. A mistake. And then pounce. This one is indeed over curling, and this time won't be in the ring, so chance for Japan to come around.
And here's a real good opportunity now. Put themselves in a good position here in this 9th end. Mayo Ishigaki. Definitely curl at the end. That one maybe got just the edge of it underneath the guard, but had lots of room at the hog line by that guard.
Leaves a chance for Anna-Lena Jens to make the hit and roll away. Look to check to the wing here. Bit of an undersweep. Wanted to roll a bit farther. Still sits top of the tee line, so Ishigaki can make the hit and roll back, fully covered, top of the forefoot.
Yeah, try and make that short little roll. And this Japanese team actually sponsored by Fuji Q, Japan's most famous amusement park. It's actually at the foot of Mount Fuji. Members of the team actually work for them, as they're sponsoring their team and obviously give them time off to work here. Try to roll underneath. Not quite enough roll. Well, as we play the 9th end, we'll look over the last of this 8th end for Canada.
Yeah, that red stone in the open was Binia Felcher trying to corner freeze that yellow stone in behind the corner. Just bounced off into the open. So a real good chance for Canada to take a stronghold here with a big score.
Yeah, and a chance here, just heard Jennifer say, really like to score 3. This Canadian team has something to prove. Obviously, it was Canada that won the World Championship last year, and Rachel Homan. But Jennifer Jones, this is her 6th trip. She's only won it once. Trying to become a 2-time world champion. Punch it through, hold the shooter. And Canada will get 3 to lead 7-4. Nice to score in the 8th end, especially if you can score 3. It was 10 years ago Jennifer won her first world championship. This was just Jill Officer, who was a member of that team with her. And of course, it'll be the last event. Jill Officer will be retiring at the end of this curling season.
She played a 100% game this afternoon.
Not a bad way to start what she's calling her last ride. Good player. Of course, the rest of the team is committed. They'll go on another 4-year cycle to try and get back to the Olympic Winter Games in Beijing in 2022. They were the Olympic gold medalists in 2014. Canada-Sweden game Wednesday night will be the exact lineups of the last 2 Olympic gold medalists.
See the raw clock here, 14.5 seconds.
Should be real close.
It's maybe running a tad quicker than this afternoon even.
We'll look at what most teams are doing now in recording the games for discussion after for analysis, charting the shots. See some of the equipment that they're using.
Ansonsten, wenn du auftägst, ist auch okay.
Ja. Genau.
Was meint ihr?
Bumper.
30, 40.
40. Na, 40.
Well, there's a good vantage point for what the coaches and alternate look at through the game, and they'll sit right in behind the sheet. Trying to sweep to get the curl and won't bump that one out.
Er war doch schneller, hätte ihn nicht anwischen dürfen dann.
Mira Abyss
War doch fast Bumper.
with the little miscue. A 4-4 game as we play in the 9th end. Japan with the Yellowstones and try and draw in.
13.8 だったからさっきの。
そうだね、14あたりでいいと思う。
14でも良さそう。
14半、そうだね。
トップ4の方がいい。T よりは。あんまりオン T だとちょっとタップされた時から前で帰っちゃうから。
It's another opportunity to play this draw. Toria Koana, 22-year-old skip.
Doesn't quite get there for weight nor line.
Ja, ist halt nur, weil eben, weil sie kann halt
You tend to run a bit straight those out turns.
Den, ha?
Ja, würde ich auch.
Ja.
Ist gut.
Leaves a double for Germany.
Einfach viel.
Okay.
If Danielle Ensch can make it, could very well bring the blank into play. We'll have to hold the shooter though.
Also double.
Makes a double and roll out. The draw will just come around the center again.
Gut. Mach mal.
Gut, auf geht's. Die Schnur.
both of them. And will clip the second one, but will not remove it.
Hat nichts gemacht, ja, sorry.
They curl up just a little bit more and they make the double.
Ah, fast.
Ja.
So another crack at this one and really put the pressure on
Nichts gemacht, gell?
Nee.
Germany with their last stone of the end.
Actually ends up taking that second yellow in behind cover, fully buried.
And now's the question, how good do you want to make this? Do you want to steal one, or do you want to force them to have to make a tough shot and possibly bring a steal a 2 into play? You need a big miss to steal a 2, though.
Well, if you wanted to force here, it could almost just even draw the wing. It might be hard to see a double for the blank, so but I think it's really could really go for the steal always, I think. At the same time, if you force to win, you're pretty happy too. It's a bit of a win-win for Japan, probably. This is team preference, though. If you like to be one down with the hammer, or the other way around. But not very often you'll see a team in this situation try to give up this steal of 1, for instance.
Yeah, it would have been interesting if they did draw to the wing. What would Germany have done? If you want to give it the steal, you just peel one out. And here, it looks like it is.
Okay.
Definitely seen some teams have that preference. You'd rather be down.
Okay, bisschen Zeit da, oder?
Gut, bis jetzt mit 80.
Genau.
Ja. Passt das vom Eis oder manche brauchen ein bisschen mehr wegen der Guard?
Ich glaube, das passt.
Passt das?
Ja.
Okay.
Ja.
80.
Genau.
Ja. Ja,
Hier,
die Line.
Fuß. Auf geht's. Schaut gut aus.
Linie ist gut. Ja, Linie, ja.
Linie.
Ja. Ja, Linie. Ableiner. Alles Linie, ja.
Well, gotta draw to try and get in there. Facing 2. Gotta get past the guard first. Now do they touch the front and still spin by? I think
so.
the guard actually helped them.
Yeah, if that doesn't tickle the guard, it's all over that top stone.
Uli Cap's reaction says it all. That one benefits, catches the guard, and they get 1. So we'll be up 1, playing the 10th end. Watch this. Just enough that it straightens it out and then curls around the other one. I've not seen that very often. I've seen them touch, but not where it actually benefits you that much.
It's almost like it's touching the backside of the stone and still makes it to the button. Well, all fortunate.
That's Uli Cap's reaction. A little harder being a coach back there as opposed to a player. So single point, a 5-4 German lead heading to 10. So a single point in the 9th inning for Germany has them on top 5-4, playing in 10. Japan got their force. Sandra, that was a big sweep. Actually, the benefit of the little touch of the guard for Germany to get their one.
Yeah, it's all fortunate there. The Germans, if that curls a hair more or less, that shot is not made. Potentially a steal of 2 for Japan. But now very much in it with a 1-point lead. It's pretty much a coin flip from here. And I wonder if the Team Germany, with a bit more experience, is able to use that here in the 10th end. Really important to get this corner guard in place now.
Yeah, these are important placement. We've seen a couple slide in from both sides. It's always that decision of, would you rather be 1 down with the hammer, trying to score 2, or 1 up without, trying to force, or do you go all out to try and steal? It depends on how it sort of starts out the end.
Well, statistically speaking, it's more or less 50-50. I think a slight edge to being 1 up, just because you can force and you get the extra. But again, team preference, you might have your own stats for your own team. You'll probably
comfort level.
Yeah, you probably you can have a look at your own record to see if you're doing better 1 down or 1 up. But also, I think most teams just liking the hammer. Just because you're throwing the final stone, you can dictate the play a bit more. When you run up, you're quite often just hoping for your opponent to miss the shot, which is not a great feeling. But of course, you play a good end, you'll get the force, and you can get a hammer in the extra. So there's a couple of ways of playing it as well. For Germany, you can play it really aggressively to try and steal, or you try and play it really cautious and try and kill the tempo for a 2 and bring this game into the extra end. Did say guard from Germany, so trying to make it a little bit difficult for Japan to get their 2 going.
Well, trying to move that one, slide right through.
Einen guten Shot. Ja. Ah, nochmal die kurze in die Mitte, oder?
Ja, ich glaube auch.
Die Frage, ja.
Ja, ja.
So 10.
Weil bei dem kann sie mit dem Langsamen schon auf die Nase kommen.
Sie sieht den Halb.
Does that miss change how Germany goes about it? Do you now try and you can put another guard up? That one top 8 foot, not really steal threat, but puts the pressure on him.
Yeah, you could maybe peel the corner guard. It's not super easy to do. I guess with that miss, Germany just looking to pounce, and as you said, just try and apply the pressure a little bit here. Just close down the scoring area for Japan to bring the play in around that 4 foot. It's tougher for Japan to get their 2. That's pretty much where they wanted that one. So Japan, yeah, that's exactly it. Maybe make the double peel on these reds and try and roll the shooter over to the left-hand side for a second corner guard. In a perfect world. The risk here sometimes, though, is you catch the first red a little too thick, you just tick the second red into the house.
Well, you look at the 85%. Trying to open that up. Well, we'll take that one out in the open.
Yeah, it's over curling there. Call the sweepers off halfway down. hoping to make a little more contact with that shot stone. And yes, it's in the open, but it has improved the position of the shot stone. It's closer to the button now. And that is definitely a shot that Germany could steal on. And you see quite a few guards accumulating on the left-hand side, really taking away the draw path. A good guard from Germany. There's really no way to score for Japan, so they're going to have to try and open it up again.
Well, the question is, it looks like there's definitely a port there. Very small one.
Yeah, that guard under curls, definitely a chance to come through for Ishigaki and even make the roll. I'm surprised they're playing the in-turn at this maybe. It'd be tough to roll to the right-hand side with the in-turn, and this will just chip the guard, but does open it up and rolls the shooter into the ring, so that's not a bad result.
That is a pretty good plan B. Opens it up. Now Germany basically has to try and get the force. Well, lie two. Gives Japan a couple of different options now. Hit and roll behind either of the two yellows. They could roll onto the corner of that red. Well, that's how tough that hit and roll is. It ends up nosing it. Germany doesn't want to make the roll themselves now, do they?
No, just keep it right there. It's pretty good. Actually rolling a bit away from the guard. I wonder if Japan might or should maybe just ignore it and try to come around with a draw. It's always tough to gauge how much risk you should take in an end like this, but you got to think a bit risk reward. Is it a bigger risk to go for a safe one and steal in the extra? Is it better to go all more offensive here and take a bit more risk to score your two? I think especially a young team like this might just panic a little bit and just really make sure they can score the one for the extra. Whereas you might want to play a little more aggressively and score your two, really got to go for it. But this is a good roll here. Taps that red a bit too far though for backing, so sits in the open in the hole. But they've essentially opened up the forfeit on that left-hand side now and brought the play over to the wing. So that's pretty good for Japan.
Mach doch gleich viel, wenn nicht, oder?
Ja, ich glaube, ich komme so 80, 80 und so. Einfach, dass man sicher durchkommt.
Genau, schau ich dir nochmal an.
Ja. denke so 80
Well, there's
oder
a
so wäre
good look
okay.
for you. The hole that's available. If it wouldn't have moved that red as far, there would have been
Ich weiß
backing
eben
on
nicht,
this
wie viel
one.
es da macht auf der Seite,
Genau,
weißt
ich auch nicht.
deswegen.
Aber von innen wissen wir es auch nicht.
Nee,
besser, ne?
deswegen.
Ja, also.
Aber ich
See where
denke,
Germany wants to roll with this one, or if they're just looking for the nose hit. So if they do nose hit, you know, Japan's been quite successful bringing the plate over to the wing. Then they'll have a chance to come around that tight yellow centre guard and get shot stone. Sometimes rolling too far is better than not rolling enough. Just forcing your opponent out from the wing when you have hammer. Looks like they'll be rolling back here, Jens.
Gets rid of the backing. It's not awful. Rolling back 8 foot.
But rolls a bit too far, and definitely still a chance to get shot stone around that. I don't know what you call it, Luke. Is that a centre guard, corner guard?
ja, der war nicht so leicht, weil ich hatte nicht so viel Platz von außen.
Same.
A tweener guard.
Hat auch gleich gezogen.
Never found a
It's a
good
4 foot guard.
Yeah. And a timeout by Japan, I believe.
Yeah, the
隠せたらそこが一番いいと思う。
ね。どっちもちょっと若干使ってないラインだから。
draw behind that guard or freeze
我慢しても悪くないよね。
the back red
ちょっと
stone.
までもワンになると思う。本当かかればワンだから。一応ロールとかもあるけど。こっちの方がいい。
先に突っ込んじゃっていいんじゃないか。
ちょっとセンター越え重たいかな。
いや気持ちよっていいと思う。割と大丈夫な感じはするけどね。
感じ。引っ張れそう。
まあ14か13後半かなっていう感じ。
ちょっとだけセンター高い。ちょっとだけ。
まあでも壁打ちだから曲がりはすると思う。
曲がりはすると思う。
そうだね。
最悪ちょっと外から見えても、
オッケー。
相手はプレッシャーになると思うから、中から見えるよりは
了解。
ワンになる範囲でちょっと外の方がいい。
ワンになればね。
かかればワン。あ、ワンね、それでいいと思う。
So timeout called. The decision looks like it's come around the 4 foot guard.
Yeah, I don't think there's much else to do here. That was a great chance to set up for 2. Especially when you can get shot stone around the guard, it's a no-brainer. But might as well use the timeout. So, you know, sometimes for a young team, just getting that confirmation is good. It's 75% on her draws so far. Weight's been alright, so sometimes not quite getting the line for the draws. Tori Koana. Looking pretty close with this one though. That is
good weight. May have come just a hair out the other side, but it's the right side to come out of.
That is pretty beautiful. And a timeout by Germany as well.
Ich glaube, der von außen, der ist viel zu schwer.
Ich glaube aber von innen.
Ja, du hast recht. Siehst ihn kaum.
Von innen,
wenn
man vor
der Freeze bringt uns halt, ja. Und ich glaube, der Freeze bringt uns halt nichts.
Nee.
Wir müssen halt Shot werden eigentlich.
Ja. Frage ist halt, ob wir unseren eigenen freezen können.
Ich habe es wirklich auch gerade überlegt, da wäre eine Shot, gell?
Aber es ist halt, wir wissen halt nicht, wie wir da hinkommen, weil es gehört wahnsinnig viel. Also an dem kommen wir nicht hin. Und der Freeze bringt uns nichts. Deswegen, also entweder wahrscheinlich selber hier, kann sie halt hinterher spielen. Das Dumme ist, sie bleibt halt dann wahrscheinlich an dem hängen. Es ist sogar die Frage, ob er nicht sogar besser ist, einfach nur Shot und hier. Der muss halt Shot sein.
Ja.
Ja, sowieso. Ja.
Sowieso. Naja, wir kommen. Nee, das ist viel zu weit. Und es ist vor allem viel zu riskant. Es ist wahnsinnig langsam jetzt auch. Also ich weiß jetzt auch nicht, weißt, wenn ich da wirklich durchkomme, weil wir sehen ihn wirklich nur einen Zentimeter von hinten. Ja, deswegen, also ich glaube wirklich entweder das oder das andere wäre halt über das. Ja, ich meine, sie darf halt nie zwei machen. Sie darf halt echt nur einen machen. Und der ist halt schwer.
Wenn du halt keinen guten Draw hast, würde ich fast sogar auf den gehen.
Ja.
Du musst halt wirklich sicher, dass du durchschaust.
Ja. Wissen wir eine Länge für die Spur?
Also jetzt hier hinter oder davor?
Beides?
80 immer noch.
80?
War zwar meiner. Ich weiß, ich habe andere Zeiten, aber
Ich glaube 80
auch
Ja.
80 mitgeben und der ist halt am Schluss so weggeschmiert.
Aber ich glaube, für
weiß
Dani
nicht,
passt
wie-
es dann immer noch.
Für Dani
Ja.
passt es dann, ja.
Ja. Weil sie hat
Ja.
jetzt mit so, glaube ich, hat sie gelegt. Und ich würde auf jeden Fall einen kleinen Ticken mehr nehmen.
Ja.
Okay.
So. Und dann wirklich schauen, dass wir uns verstecken.
Ja, okay. Ja.
So they want to corner freeze it or come around.
Wie gesagt, also weißt, du, wenn der schön liegt,
That
der
one
muss
just
halt
thrown?
Shot sein.
Ja.
Ja.
Das müsst ihr
That's
dann
what they're
einfach
pointing at.
entscheiden.
Und
See the
falls
brim
er
of,
schneller, der muss wir voll auf
Jens.
Curl, dass er
Ja,
vielleicht
genau, dass
schlechter
er den
tappen
schlechter
als
tappt
den.
als den.
Ja.
Genau.
Tough though.
Oder?
Aber sicher, also für euch ist nur wichtig, der
Shot.
muss Shot sein, egal wie.
Ja.
Does it become
Okay.
difficult if you're
Ja?
Okay.
thinking of two different shots?
Dann da ein bisschen mehr, oder? Haben wir gesagt.
Wait,
Sie
there's
hatte
a
sie
4-foot
da,
difference.
Ja, sie hat
Ja,
da.
okay, dann ganz
What's your main
kleines
call?
bisschen
Are you
mehr,
trying to
damit wir ein bisschen
corner
Luft
freeze
haben.
it? And if you throw it heavy, then you go, or you throw in the back one. Or if it's light, then you.
Genau.
I think you just go for the corner freeze, but maybe nice to just bring it up and tell your vice skip that, well, we have the option to come around, but that should be fairly automatic to think. But the perfect shot here is the
Yeah.
corner freeze that yellow, but because it's top four, it's such a thin corner freeze to sit for shot. You've come half checked. You're sitting second, and it's a 4-foot draw for Japan to win. They were discussing a few other options, freezing their own stone, which could work as well, but very hard to do. Could play a run back, but there's no runs on your own stones. You can only run a yellow stone back, so pretty tough. This probably leaves you the most options, and if anything, at least close down the scoring area a little bit for Japan.
Über die Center, dann komm rüber. Über die Center.
Tough to make perfect though.
Jetzt kommen wir Curl.
I think they might be coming around this.
Now the change
Yellow.
to go around it.
Don't have the line for the freeze. Definitely have enough weight.
And it goes too far, so it's going to be a draw for Japan to pick up the win.
Sorry.
Oh nee. Bei denen ist echt.
It's going to be
ちょっと重くなってそう。
a bit of a relief.
Jetzt kommen wir Curl.
Wasn't far off, but just that extra little bit of weight was about 4 feet heavy.
Did sweep that quite a bit coming down though. Just a little
ちょっと広げた
overswept.
か。大してそんな変わんないと思う。
Just maybe a little bit tense.
大してそんな変わんないと思う。
Just goes to show you how nice of a shot that was by Kawano with her first. If that one's deep, the freeze is a lot easier there. Difficult. Now this to the 4-foot for the win.
Well, knowing you have the extra either way takes some of the pressure off of this shot.
自力で行こう自力で。手です。あいや。わわわわわわ。
Well, catch the curl, come down, and there it is for the 2 and the win. Japan will take a 6-5 win. Win their first game here at the World Championship. Germany will drop to 0-2 with the 6-5 loss.
Ich weiß.
Yeah, well, really impressive to play by the young Japanese team. Certainly showing that there are no pushovers and they're here to win games. They definitely played some aggressive, entertaining curling, and it'll be fun to see more from them later in the week.
頑張ってスイープしたよ。
ナイス。なんか出ちゃった。
Well, just one game remaining out on the ice. That is Canada-Switzerland. Canada with a 7-5 lead playing in the 10th end. And Canada does have the hammer. This, join you, is in 10th end. We're in Skip Stones, Dinja Felcher. Has to try and steal 2, and right now it's Canada lying 3.
Wat snel time-out na. Wat snel time-out na.
Wat, dan neem nou eens time-out. Neem time-out, Albert. Maar dan neem ze weer
Time-out.
Well, they're going to call a timeout now. Have their coach Al Moore come out, talk about it. Switzerland losing earlier today to China, playing their second game. Canada winning earlier, so at 1-0.
I think we have to try and sit one now and then worry about how we get the second one on the next one. So I think we got to play the double red run back.
Yeah, but that's not possible to the yellows.
No, to the red. Off the red.
We can go directly to the...
Not hard enough to move those other ones. I think you have to hit it hard enough. You have to hit it hard enough.
Go with that one.
You have to hit it hard enough to sit shot, and then on the next one, hopefully you'll have one of these other ones to raise up again.
Yeah.
Well, pretty short and sweet from the coach. I think you got to lie one, and the only way they're thinking is to play the double run.
Ja. We zijn niet veel sneller. Als ik ganz wenig aussen.
Ja, versucht.
Een beetje meer.
Ja.
So I have to go red, red off the side, red on the side of the forefoot. Get the right angle to get the one off the button. First of Skip Stones. 78% on her hits. Well, it catches the wrong side, but we'll just peel that one out.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure how she lies. There's no sense. I think, yeah, even if we know that it's fine. Yeah.
Not much right now to try and get rid of those yellows lined up. They lie 3 at the moment.
Roos einfach nog maar eens 3 oder wie?
It's like that could be ice for a draw or guard or. Let's go down.
Not sure what there is then for Felcher after this one. Jennifer Jones looking to move to 2-0, a 2-win day. Canada will have morning, afternoon off tomorrow. And I don't know how you lie 2 right now.
Ik glaube, wir schaffen es einfach nicht, dass sie irgendwie da nicht strafen, oder?
Mit welchem?
Das geht, glaube ich, wirklich nicht mehr.
Schießen wir einfach noch da drauf.
Aber dann musst du eigentlich mit dem 3.
Ja. Gedaan. 3 in 1. 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 Een podcast typ mee. Ja. Gaat nu.
Ja.
I don't know if it's to have to throw something hard to try and move them all around.
Sure, I don't think that top one ever goes. Is she trying to...
Don't know if you can run that red one straight onto the yellows. And not a brush laid to this one so far, as that will do it. Canada will win and Switzerland will drop to 0-2. Canada with their second win wins 10-5 over Switzerland in a battle of world champions. Russia will play Switzerland tomorrow afternoon. So that will wrap up session 2 here of action. Canada moves 2-0. Switzerland 0-2 after day 1. Well, a 6-5 win for Japan, Germany here, 7th end. And a hit here to try and score 2. Couple of misses by Japan in the end allowed the deuce to be set up. Daniela Jentsch hits, sticks, scores 2. And right to the 9th end, trying to get away with a blank and being forced to draw for the single point. Daniela Jentsch will touch the top guard, but big sweep. Scholl, Jentsch able to hold it for their skipper, get right by to the button and get 1. To have a 1-point lead heading to the 10th end. And after a draw, just a little bit deep for Daniela Jentsch in Germany. Tori Koana, opportunity with the out-turn draw to the forefoot for their win in their opening game.
Nice.
Right down, so 2 for the win for Japan, 6-5 the final. And the other results from session 2, Sweden wins going away against Denmark 8-2. Well, same as the US, 8-1 winners over Italy. Japan, of course, you just saw beat Germany 6-5. And Canada knocks off Switzerland 10-5 here at the North Bay Memorial Gardens. And we are through 1 day of play. Canada sits atop at 2-0, followed by China, Japan, Korea, Russia, Sweden and the USA all at 1-0. Czech Republic, Denmark, Italy, Scotland all at 0-1. And Germany and Switzerland finish off day 1 at 0-2.
First win here at the World Championship for your team. How are you feeling?
Yeah, it's happy to win this game. Beautiful eyes, strong teams. We did a good performance. It was a really good feeling.
What can you say about your team and how they played today?
Yeah, they really good. They did.
And how are you enjoying the experience of playing here in Canada in front of all the fans?
It was many audience and many sounds. It was really fun. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much and congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, Victoria skip, Tori Koana, and Japan win. As that wraps up day one. Sandra Rovag, myself, Luke Coley, and the entire crew. Thanks for watching the Ford World Women's Curling Championship.